All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is Monday, June 5th of 2023 here, kicking off our first show of the week. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. This is a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions. Questions can come in from support. You can reach us at support@sabersim.com. Questions come in live in the YouTube chat, and questions also come in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord, there's a link in the description below to get joined up. Highly recommend it. As always, you get access to our sim alerts. A lot of the other SaberSim team members are around in the channels answering questions for users each and every day here. My man John is in the chat already saying, let's go smash that like button. We would appreciate it if you guys do. We do this show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come in, hang out, get your questions answered. That is what this show is all about here. Looking ahead to today, we got a 7-game MLB slate. We have a 1-game NHL Showdown tonight. Should be fun. And then looking ahead to the week, NBA returns on Wednesday. And then we have the Canadian Open on Thursday for PGA. But with that said, going to get the app pulled up here and going to jump right in. Have one question here that came in. Looks like a couple users helped out, answered this person's question in the Discord. So I'm going to go over this for everybody watching. But if anybody has any questions, now is always a great time to get those in here. So first question of the day says, does review mode not show the lineups that were entered into the contest? It's showing me lineups that would have won easily, but weren't entered in my contests, unfortunately. So good question here. I'm going to go back to last week. These will be, builds that we ran on the show sometime last week here. So if I go over to the main slate, and then first thing to note here. So one, after the slate is ran, we are going to pull in the actual scores, which you can see here. It's a column that gets added. So also, if you were to download this CSV, after the slate is run, if the column is shown in the home screen, the column is going to be part of the CSV download. So just one note there for anybody doing any type of back testing, need access to actual scores. This is downloadable after the slate here. And then if we were to, looks like I don't actually have any builds here for whatever reason. So I'm going to go back one more slate. Interesting. So I'm actually not seeing some of the builds that I ran last week. I don't know if this is something that other users are running into at the moment. I can mention it to the team. It looks like I do have one here for this last Wednesday slate. So when I go to this slate, okay, so you're going to see that review mode is an option here, right? So if I click this, what it's going to do is it is going to basically sort my entire pool of lineups by highest actual score descending here. And this is no different than having review mode off and turning on actual score and clicking to that sorting method. The difference here is that if you want to use review mode effectively, you have to choose a lineup file. So you have the saved lineups drop down here. These are all the different iterations to my lineup that I made. So the best thing that you can do is go to your entries file, which you would have under the entries tab, see what lineup file you used to fill your lineups. And then let's say I used this 11-17 one. So I'm going to click on this 11-17 one. Review mode is going to get enabled. Now what's going to happen is that SaberSim is going to look at those 20 lineups in that timestamp, extract those from the rest of your pool, and then sort by actual score. So the way you're able to tell is that if I click into my pool here, there are going to be a certain number of actual scoring lineups that are potentially higher scoring. So right here we have 4 lineups that scored higher than our first lineup that shows up in our set of 20 here. So that's why this is now rank 5. But when I basically had no saved lineups here, you were not able to tell as easily what number that lineup was here. So I think because, I already clicked the file, it's like basically just carrying over at this point. But when I just loaded in here, I didn't know, I hadn't told SaberSim that information yet. So make sure that you have the lineup file that you want to look at selected, and then review mode will work as expected here. All right. John said, take the 7-day free trial. It's absolutely worth it. Yeah. So, in the description of this video, we offer a 7-day, no strings attached free trial. Check us out and, see what we're all about, and then come and get your questions answered. But I think the trial is great. I always recommend people take advantage of the trial. The great thing about a 7-day free trial is, you get access to all sports across the week, right? You get access to MLB, NBA, NHL, golf, play some MMA, play some NASCAR, play some Formula One, right? You get that full 7-day effect. So that is why we have a 7-day free trial. We are really, really happy about it, and users seem to like it. All right. John said, if someone wants to do more outside research, what are some good sites to look at? Okay. So good question here. Really depends. I'm going to assume you're talking about baseball here. So some sites that I prefer to use for baseball, really, and I don't do a ton here. I'll show you guys exactly what I'm looking at here. And let me just get this pulled up. So for baseball, if I ever want to go and see what the Vegas totals are here, I'm going to show you guys all free to use websites that I like to check. Let's say that, I want to see what the Vegas totals are versus what SaberSim has in the app, because what you see in the app are not Vegas totals. These are our own internal mean team totals that we have come up with through our modeling. So, we're running the games, simming the games thousands of times here. And then what you see, this 4.8 for Philadelphia, this is the average score that Philadelphia has across all of the sims, right? But let's say I want to go compare to Vegas. This fantasylabs.com/MLB/Vegas dashboard here. And this is a great way. I just, use this implied live. You could sort by implied live to see highest to lowest here, and then scroll through here and then cross check to see where any differences are with what you see in SaberSim, but usually pretty good here. Nothing too egregious, but definitely worth checking from time to time. Also use the RotoGrinders weather MLB dashboard here, run by Kevin Roth. He also has a Twitter account. You can check him out on Twitter, and he'll update this dashboard a couple times a day. But then in the hour leading up to lock, he will post some tweets with information that you might not find on here. So definitely good to follow the Twitter feed and check him out. Another free to use tool here. If I want to look at any specific players, Baseball Reference is great, for game logs. Let's say like there's a pitcher on today's slate that I'm not super sure about. We'll just use Hunter Brown. I could just come into Baseball Reference here, and if I want to look at individual pitchers and their game logs or something like that, I can just come in here and use this tool. It's a free to use tool, and I can see how many pitchers he's thrown, right? He goes from 97 down to 88 back to 102. A lot of up and down movement here with his pitch count, right? So if you wanted to do something like that, I think that's great. But let's say you're playing MLB Showdown, right, and you want to try and look at relief pitchers to try and get an edge on the slate to see who is most likely to pitch and who is most likely not to pitch. Let's say I'm playing a showdown with the Angels, right? This is their pitches the last 5 days. So it is basically furthest away is on the right, and then most recent is on the left. So Sunday was yesterday, and then Saturday was 2 days ago, Friday was 3 days ago, etc. Right? So what I could gain from this is saying, hey, Chris Davinsky played or pitched 28 pitches yesterday. There's probably no chance that he's going to pitch today. And that is something that, SaberSim is not going to pick up inherently here. So let's like do an actual example. Let's look at Tampa Bay and Chicago here. So this looks like an early showdown here. Both lineups are already confirmed. So let's say I want to go to my baseballpress.com/bullpen-usage here, and I want to go look at Tampa Bay and the Cubs. So if I want to look at the Cubs here, so if I was building for this, I would probably take off Michael Fulmer, right? Pitched 2 days in a row, pitched 24 pitches on Saturday, pitched 15 pitches on Sunday. I highly think that he is not going to be available here. Probably leaning more towards somebody like Leader Jr. or Alzole, two righties here, and they only actually have one lefty in their bullpen. So hard to say whether like Hughes won't be available or not, but I think you can make like some inferences here, right? So maybe get rid of Fuller, maybe get rid of Merriweather here. It seems like he might pitch every other day, like with a day in between. And then this is a great opportunity to use this tool in conjunction with Baseball Reference. And then if we wanted to go and search Julian Merriweather, we could actually see, how many times is he pitching back-to-back days, right? And then we can go pull up his game log and then see what those pitches are. So it looks like the 30th and the 31st, he threw 14 pitches and then 22, 26, 27, he threw 24 pitches, 13. So he's definitely a candidate to pitch back-to-back days here, right? So I wouldn't do anything with Merriweather. I would be okay leaving him in. But that is one way to, use a couple of tools in conjunction here that are all free to use and do some additional research to find an edge on the slate, right? And then you can go look at the Rays and then see if you could see something similar. So it looks like they actually probably threw like a bullpen day on Saturday here. With so many guys pitching. So this is actually really interesting, right? I think you could probably X Armstrong, probably X Stevenson here. Probably the guys like who threw less pitches, right? Not like Joe La Sorsa here, right? But maybe guys like Kelly, Foucher, Diekman, and Adam are probably all like available today, right? So you can make some inferences here. I think Beeks is maybe somebody I would X. 40 pitches is kind of a lot. Criswell is close. Poche is close here, right? So this is one way to like do some additional research, gain some edge on MLB Showdown. And then I think RotoWire is also good for pitchers. If like there's a situation where maybe a guy is pitching for the first time, maybe he's on like an innings limit or a pitch limit, or you don't know, right? And you want to check. I think somebody good today is Andrew Abbott for the Reds. This is his first start of the season, right? So you can come in here, you could search for the player's name and then see added to the roster ahead of debut. Red select Abbott from AAA, his ahead of his scheduled start Monday. Then you can just read into him a little bit, right, and then see what they're looking for here. I'm gonna hit wait. We'll line up for a 2-week start with Cincinnati, and then it talks a little bit about how he's done in the minor leagues, right? And then you could, take this information and then, use it in conjunction with Baseball Reference. And then even here, you can go and see his minor league stats, right? So if we wanted to go to Andrew Abbott, go to minor leagues, and then you can see all of his game logs across the minor leagues this year, right? So these are all his game logs. Pretty high strikeouts, 11, 14, 11, basically only one game under 7 strikeouts here. Throwing, 86, 97 pitches. So, this isn't a guy who's going to come in and probably just like be pulled after 3 innings, right? They might let him go. They might try and stretch him a little bit. So he's kind of interesting just based on what I'm seeing here. But I think all these tools are useful. They're all free to use. So if you're interested in doing some additional research on your slates, I would check these out. But good question there, John, and happy to talk about that for everybody tuning in here. But that was our last question. At the moment, we are all caught up in questions in the Discord and the YouTube chat here. If anybody has any questions, now is a great time to get those in. But while we wait for any additional questions to come in here, if you guys are not playing over on Owner's Box, I highly recommend taking advantage of it. We partnered with Owner's Box at the beginning of the MLB season. We were the first major optimizer to support Owner's Box, and we've been really happy with the results so far. So the contests on Owner's Box tend to overlay a lot, so you can't beat, overlaid contests, rake-free contests, or even reduced rake contests. The contests are generally softer than what you are going to find on DK, FanDuel, and Yahoo. A lot of the best players are not playing over on Owner's Box yet. I think that this will probably ramp up as we get into the fall, as we get into football, as we get into NBA here. So take advantage of it during the MLB season while you can. And then also, if you use promo code SABER or SaberSim when you sign up, you can get a $500 deposit bonus. And you can also earn free months of SaberSim just by playing on the site. And there's no limit to the amount of credit that you can earn. So basically, just by playing there, just by using the promo code, we will track your entry fees. And then each time you hit one of these entry fee thresholds, we will reach out to you, ask you if you want to cash in on that free month. If you say, hey, I want to wait till I get to pro, no problem. Once you get to the pro level, we will cash it in for you, and then we will reset your tracking to 0, and then you can continue to earn free months for as long as you continue to play over there. But take advantage of this promotion. It's been great. I've had a lot of success over on Owner's Box myself, and you cannot beat reduced rake, no rake, right? That is percentage points that you do not have to earn back that the sites are essentially taking from you, right? So even sometimes, I might play a $5 entry on Owner's Box, and at lock, my $5 might be worth $6.30, right? And now they're paying me to play the contest. So really cannot beat that overall here. But all right, everybody, no questions coming in here. Appreciate everybody tuning in for our first show of the week. We will be right back here tomorrow, Tuesday, June 6th, for our next show at 2 p.m. Eastern. If anybody is building lineups throughout the day, question pops in their head, drop it in the Office Hours channel, let it sit there until tomorrow, gets us a steady queue of questions to get going with at the beginning of the show here. So if you guys can do that for me, I always appreciate that. Really quickly, before we get out of here, looks like we got a question from Noah here. So going to get SaberSim pulled back up. Question says, for NHL Showdown, I feel like my builds were too chalk heavy. How can I get a good mix of chalk and less chalky? Is it geomean or percentile here? So good question. So let's jump over to NHL. I would say that, the best thing that you can do is do something in the post build to try and make your lineups different from other lineups here. So if we're playing this NHL Showdown, we're playing GBP, maybe we're playing like a 20 max, 10 to 50K. Your sliders are going to be 0-10 by default, taking single game sims here. One thing that our other sports do that I'm not seeing right here, right off the bat, is that in these contests, right, max salary is used very, very often. So some of our other sports like NHL, like a NFL Showdown, and I believe NBA Showdown as well, will automatically decrease the max salary from 50K to 49,900 for these large field mass multi-entry slates here. So that's one thing you can do is mess around with the salary, right? You could also do this as a filter in the post build. So let's say that I wanted to build some hockey lineups here, but I want to be conscious of dupes. I want to make sure that I'm getting different from the field here. You can make it a rule, right, a requirement in the build settings, or you could leave it as it is and then just filter those lineups in the post build. So I'm actually interested to see what the difference is here, to see how many lineups we get rid of. So we're in the post build. Let's say that I'm only playing 20 lineups, and I'm going to go to my filters. I'm going to go to add a filter, and then I'm going to say hide lineups with salary greater than, and then I'm going to say 49,900. So then basically this will get rid of all of the 50,000 salary lineups here, right? So if I go in my trash, I'm going to see all these lineups, 50,000. Didn't really get rid of too many lineups here. Got rid of, 2% of lineups here. So maybe I want to increase that, right? Maybe I want to go 49,800 and get rid of the 50,000s and the 49,9s, right? And then now we're getting a little closer to about top 10% of our pool here. A lot of these lineups, we still have lineups 1 through 12 here, and we got rid of lineup 13 was the first one in the trash. So I think that this is kind of cool here, because what you can do is you could see what lineups that you're getting rid of, right? So rank 13. So the first lineup that we trash is rank 13. If I were to come into the trash and see that we got rid of lineups rank 1 through 10, I would be kind of nervous, right? I'd be like, okay, I'm getting rid of all of the lineups at the top of my pool here, right? But that's not the case. So I'm totally fine doing this salary thing here. And then similarly, you could add a geomean rule, right? If you're on the pro plan, you could do it as a filter. So what I would do is do my geomean calculation. So it would be the number of dupes that you are accounting for here. So maybe I want to say, hey, show me lineups under 20 dupes. So that, or projected for under 20 dupes. So I would do 20 divided by the number of entries in the contest, say 10,000 to the power of 1/6, where 6 is the number of players in this lineup. That would spit out a number. And then what I would do is I would add a filter that would say hide lineups. You have to create a custom metric first, right? So create a custom metric that shows the value of the geomean of each lineup. So my own product geomean value here, what it's going to do is it is looking at the ownership percentages, and it is actually calculating the geomean for you here. So that's like 15.6. And then from there, I can go and do a filter here. And let's just sort by geomean. We'll see what the highest are here. So highest geomean is 17.2. Let's say that I want to get rid of maybe like the top 10%-ish. So let's say like 14. So then I'm going to do high lineups, geomean greater than, I'm going to say 14. So then we had the 36 lineups that we got rid of originally. Now we just got rid of another 140, and this might have been too aggressive here. So I'm gonna increase this to 14.5, and this is probably something closer to what I like. But going back to what I was just talking about, our first lineup in our new set of 20 is rank 89. So we've actually gotten rid of all of the top 88 lineups now totals here. So I might rethink this one here and see if this is actually the route I want to go. Maybe this is too high, right? Maybe I could lower it and get back some of those top lineups. But even by lowering it to 15, I'm barely at rank 39. So these are like hard decisions that you have to make, trade-offs that you have to make, actually calculating the numbers and seeing what the different values give you in terms of, return on your lineups. It is good to know here, right? So I would actually go through the steps of calculating it out. I would do a couple, right? Maybe do 20 dupes, 30 dupes, 40 dupes, and then apply all of those geomean values and then see how they're different, right? Apply it for 20 dupes, 30 dupes, 40 dupes, see what lineups it's getting rid of, see how many lineups it's getting rid of, and then see what you can do from there. Noah followed it up by saying, also, I saw another DFS pro YouTuber with sim diversity of 1 for NBA Showdown, and they really like their lines. What are your thoughts on 1 versus 9? So for me, it depends. I would say that so let's just go talk about sim diversity. So I'm going to go back to yesterday's game, just use this as an example here. And when you build lineups, on 0-10, this is going to take single game simulations from the showdown, right? So we're going to pull one game sim, build the optimal lineup, put that in your pool, right? When you use sim diversity 9, what's going to happen is we are going to take a set of simulations, a small set, let's say 5 sims. I don't actually know the numbers here, but we're just going to say 5. So we are going to see how the players do across those 5 sims, use the outputs from those 5 sims to build your lineup. So the average fantasy points that the players score across those 5 game sims is now their projection that we are analyzing when we are determining whether or not to put them into a lineup. So the good thing about using, a small subset of sims is that you can't have these random outlier performances where a guy, does good once and doesn't really do good in any of the other sims. If you have a group of sims, even that one outlier sim will kind of get pushed to the wayside because the other 4 sims in our example here, that where the player does bad, are going to outweigh the one time that player does good. And the player still probably won't do good enough overall on average to get put into the lineup. That's great sometimes, right? It depends on the sport. I would say that I prefer something like that more in like golf, where, one golfer has like a really outlier performance, but, in these sports where you're shooting for an optimal, like NBA, I'm actually okay including that one time the player does good, because take somebody like Haywood Highsmith, right, who was the optimal captain in the big Millie Showdown where 2 of the SaberSim users took first place. That outcome is really rare, right? And that outcome might only happen once. So by allowing SaberSim to build you single game sims, you allow for those instances to come up. If you're building on sim diversity 1, basically the lower and lower you put sim diversity, the closer and closer you get to average projections here, right? So at 9, we might be taking a handful of sims to build your lineups. At Sim Diversity 0, we are literally using the projections that you see in the home screen. At Sim Diversity 1, we are taking a large subset of sims here. This is like probably in the hundreds here. And although it's not, all of the 1,000, the projection that these players get is going, or the projection that the players achieve in the sims is going to be closer and closer to this mean value. So it literally can't get any closer than Sim Diversity 1, because if you increase it, the buckets are going to get smaller. So by using Sim Diversity 1, you are still subsetting the sims that you get. You are just taking bigger subsets. So if you value your average projections, but you want to, use some of the sims in like you're basically trying to say like, hey, I really value my average projections, maybe like 70% value on my average projections, but I also value the range of outcomes and the game sims from SaberSim, but I only value that at like 30% value to me personally, like intrinsically here. So I want to have use both of them, but really value my custom projections here, right? So that is like probably the way I would think about it here. I don't know if 70-30 is the right split. That's just something I'm coming up with here off the top of my head. But the more you value your custom projections and the more you want to value, kind of the best players and the average best players on average, the lower your sim diversity should be. The more different you want to get, the more you want to value the game sims, the higher your sim diversity should be here overall. But really good question there. Patrick said, "What's up, Andrew? Missed the mustache." Yeah, man, it was time to get rid of it. I've been digging it without it, so don't know if it's going to make a comeback. But all right, everybody, great questions today, and we will be right back here tomorrow. So until tomorrow, good luck in all of your contests. Take care. I will see you guys. Thanks. Bye.